What's up, guys? Welcome back to Vaping with Tough Luck. And today we are going to be checking out not a new tank, not a new mod, not a new RDA, nothing in particular like that. Today we're going to be checking out something that I did previously go over in a previous review, but I've been getting a lot of emails, comments, questions, everything about it. How do I do it? How am I successfully doing it? I've even had actual local friends like around my way, friends that I hang out with, vape shops ask me how I do it. Or people say, how do you do it without having any leaking and stuff like that? Well, today we're actually going to be checking out the RBA section of the TFv8 Cloud Beast. I've actually really been enjoying this. If you guys haven't caught my review of this, go check it out. I'll have one of them things that come across right here. Click it, check it out. But for you guys that just want to find out about the RBA section, how I wick it, what we're vaping it with, and today we are going to be using the V8 RBA 4.0 TX RBA, the one that comes included with the full-size Beast. Not have any issues. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to dive up close, rip out my build that I currently have in it, and show you guys how I throw a build in here, how I wick it up, and then we are going to back out, vape on it, and talk pros and cons and my experience with the TFv8 RBA section. And as you guys see in here, I'm even running out of juice already. And yes, I am vaping my TFv8 RBA on top of a unregulated dual 18650 series box mod. And yes, I do have a safe build in here. It is currently ohming out to a 0.39. Currently full batteries, 8.31. I've only had maybe about 10, 12 hits. Let's have a vape and let's dive up close and check it out. Let's see how it is. Oh, I know you guys caught it. Check out that new sexy ass matchy drip tip. And the mod I usually rock this on, all black and orange mod, custom model, which I'll show you guys soon. It's coming up for review. Enough talking, enough chit chatting. And I just want to show you guys the current build in here. I know some of you guys might ask later on. And as you see, I just got some regular twisted fused Claptons, at least 90 mils through this tank, because this tank is it's a juice monster. But as you guys can see, it's not too shabby to work with. Let me go ahead and pop this RBA section out. Alright, so there's your base. As you see, nothing too fancy. And here is the actual RBA head for starters. All you do is take off this top piece. Then you are down with your velocity style deck with your airflow right here, large ass airflow underneath, and then you got wicking channels right here that are just like the Hercules RTA 2 decks, but this has got its own style. So you wick it into its own channel, but these are actually almost kind of separated to make 4 wicking holes, but it actually all wicks in through one little hole right here, or one opening. Then you have where your airflow comes from your base right here. These large airflow channels open. Your air comes in through there underneath and then goes up to your coils through them air holes underneath here through this part. So that's your RBA deck, and that's the build that I currently have inside my TFv8. Alright guys, now let me clean this up and then we'll go ahead and check out the whole tank. What's up guys? So here we are with the TFv8 the Cloud Beast by SMOK. And now they have released a baby beast, which is basically this tank in a miniature version. But just to give you guys a tour of this box and what's in it, on the side it has a little bit of information about their new app, which goes along with all their products. To give you a little bit of information, plus a scratch and sniff check place to make sure yours is authentic. It gives you a code, the serial, the color of it. It'll say black or stainless steel. Up here it's got fight for your right to vape, 10 cents, donate 10 cents in your name. Pretty cool. SMOK is a part of Sevilla USA, so that is pretty cool. This TFv8 includes 1 Cloud Beast tank, 1 V8 T8 octuple coil head that ohms out to a 0.15 ohms, which is currently, that comes pre-installed inside your tank. Then you got the V8 Q4, which is a quadruple coil head, which also comes out to 0.15 ohms. Then you have the V8 exclusive turbo RBA section, which comes out to a 0.28 ohms with the fused Claptons that comes pre-installed by SMOK that all you have to do is wick. But then once you replace your own coils or put your own coils in this RBA section, of course your ohms might not match this, so please keep that in mind. You also get one replacement glass, you get one user manual, and some spare parts. Alright guys, so here we are with the RBA section, the tank broken down. This is all you're going to need, besides your tools to put your coils in as well. But let's just go over a quick look at this RBA section. I mean, it's a pretty nice, solid RDA. I mean, this thing is also massive. Just take a look at this right here. I mean, here is their coil head, and this is the V8Q4, the quadruple coil head, and here is their RBA section. I mean, they're almost the same damn size. The RBA section is actually a little bit larger. That's pretty damn cool. Alright, so here we are with the RBA section. You guys seen it next to the coil heads. You've seen it all broken down. Now, it's actually time to put some coils in this bad boy and vape on it. How you access it is it has this little top cap. You just want to unscrew this. And as you see, it's all made out of stainless steel. The threading on this isn't actually too bad. I think it could be a little bit better. But, hey, it works. And as long as you make sure you line the threads up correctly when you are screwing this on, you shouldn't have any problems. But just be careful with that. There is your actual deck. Here is the deck of the actual RBA section, the one that comes pre-included. And as you guys see, you do have some very large airflow holes right here that go underneath your coils, just like we would see with the Hercules RTA 2 deck. You do have some pretty large holes right here, post holes on your actual pieces. And also, as you can see down there, your 510 pin, it does actually make this wiggle, basically just like the Hercules RTA 2. If you take out your 510 pin, you can remove the positive post. And as you see how this one is part of the actual deck. But how this actually works, you also want to be careful when you are taking this apart, is if you actually unscrew this bottom like this. As you see now, I have some gap. Now my 510, my post right here is now loose and actually able to remove if I keep taking it all the way off, spin it, and so forth. I mean, so just be careful when you are building with this to make sure you remove the RBA section and not actual taking out this piece when you are removing it from the base of the actual tank. So there it is. And then for wicking, as I mentioned, you can see how it has the basically like 4 holes instead of just one opening on each side, but really it is, because you can see it just goes underneath the post, almost comes all the way over to the threading, so it almost makes it like 4 holes. So it kind of makes it even easier, in my opinion, because you can just poke them down in there and you're good to go. And how I wick it is I just make sure that it's nice and fluffy right here, fluffy right there, but not stuffed or jammed in there to make it hard for it to wick itself and pull juice through. But there we go, guys. Let me put it back on the tank and we're going to go install some coils. Now, as you see, once it is installed on this actual base, you can see the wicking channel is basically cut off halfway. So you do want to make sure your wicking material is done correctly, because that is how people were experiencing problems. They weren't putting enough, or they were putting way too much and jamming and stuffing it in there to where it wasn't getting all the liquid they were needing and getting some dry hits. Alright guys, so this is what you're going to need to be able to install your coils, or brand new coils I should say, on your RBA section. Once you have used the ones that come pre-installed by SMOK themselves, when you first buy your SMOK TFv8 Cloud Beast, if you are just wicking the coils that come installed, all you will need is some wicking material and some snips and some scissors, in my opinion. But if you are installing your own coils, you are going to need either the Allen key that comes provided, or a tool like this. You are going to need a 2.5 millimeter Allen key to be able to tighten and loosen up these Allen keys on your post or post screws. You are going to need some wicking material. I'm just going to use some Japanese organic cotton pads, or you can use the stuff that comes with it. You are going to need some coils, and for this build I am going to be using GM coils. You can check him out on Instagram at GM_coils. This guy makes some awesome coils, as you can see them right there. I'm just going to use some small fused Claptons, and this is 26 gauge Kanthal with 38 gauge Twisted Messes Nichrome 80, and it should come out to a 0.17 dual coil. So we'll see. I might throw an extra wrap on these just to make it even better, but we'll see. But here we go. These are GM underscore coils on Instagram. I highly recommend checking them out. But yeah, so you're just going to need some coils. You're going to need some ceramic tweezers, or at least I highly recommend ceramic tweezers. That way, if you have some hot spots, you can use these to pinch them even while you are glowing your coils. You are going to need some scissors to trim your cotton and some snips. So if you have them tools, you can go ahead and get it done. I also recommend having a ohm reader. I recommend personally the Coil Master 521 ohm reader. I love this thing. This is the 521 tab by Coil Master, and I personally love this tool. So every time I do a build, I use this. But enough about that. Let's go ahead and start this process. Here's a quick look at GM underscore coils on Instagram, also known as GM coils. As you see, guys, these coils are nothing but perfection. They are awesome, and he has all kinds of different kinds of builds, from different size fused Claptons to aliens to mirror polish coils, all the way even up to series fused Claptons. Here's a quick shot of his large mirror finish coils, and as I'm telling you guys, this stuff ain't no joke. He makes some serious awesome coils. These ones are large mirror, and these are 20 gauge Canthal, 6 wraps on a 3mm bit, and they're going to come out to a 0.11 ohm dual coil. And there also is his Instagram again. So you guys got to see the up close and fast personal build of the GM coils on the TFv8 RBA section. And basically, it's just like any other normal. You're just going to have to install your coils, or just like if you were building on your velocity or anything with a velocity build. So you put your Alright, so we go ahead and got the ends clipped off. Let me just straighten up these coils a little bit while we're talking before we start wicking it up and getting the hot spots out. One thing I do want to point out, that remember I showed you guys in the beginning of how this deck comes apart. You do want to make sure that this post is tightened down all the way good as possible, because if not, you are going to have it short out or not make a good connection or move all around on you and so forth. And as you can see, guys, here is the GM coils. I did throw an extra wrap on here. So instead of 5 wraps around a 2.5mm, these are 6 wraps now. And I just think it'll work out better with this RBA head. So that's what we did. And as you see, you do want to build your coils to where they're basically centered right over this airflow channel on each side. And you also want to make sure before you go ahead and work with your hot spots or wick it up, you want to just take this cap, screw it on, and then just look down inside. Make sure you are going to have clearance, that nothing is making contact with the outer chimney of this cap or anything of that nature. And then you also want to check it one more time once you got the coils glowing evenly. So let's go ahead and do that, and let's check out our beginning resistance. So our beginning resistance is coming out to a 0.20 exactly. Pretty dope. Let's go ahead and fire them up for the first time and see what happens. I don't know if that's coming through good for you guys, but as you can see, because of the nichrome already, there's already starting to get some beautiful little color to these coils. So that's pretty dope. Let's go ahead and make sure all these leads are tightened down. Alright guys, so after burning the shit out of myself, I got them glowing the way I want. I'm going to go ahead and fix the one real quick. And this is where your ceramic tweezers come in handy. It's because you are able to grab them not only while they are hot and mess with them, but also even while you are heating them up, pinching them, strumming them, doing whatever you need to do. There you go, guys. Got them glowing nice and even, how I want. Now, we are ready to put some wick in these bad boys and show you how it's done, and then back out and vape on them. So before we do that though, I am going to let these cool down for a second. And before we let them cool down, let's just check out the final resistance. And it came in at a 0.17. Now give me a second, let these cool down, and we'll come back and we'll wick them. Alright guys, for this part of the build, you can either use this wick that comes with the TFv8 Cloud Beast for the RBA section. It's just smokes organic cotton. But I recommend using your own, either cotton bacon, ninja wick, or just a regular Japanese organic cotton pad. This stuff is really good. I really like it, and it's cheap. You can pick it up on Amazon. I'll have a link down in the description if you guys want to pick up some of this wick. I actually love this wick just for doing my re-wicks or anything like that. If I'm doing a special build, I'll pull out some like Celtic or cotton bacon or something like that. But hey, this stuff works just as good as well. Now what I'm going to do, these are 2.5 millimeter diameter coils. So I'm going to cut off some nice little pieces. We can always trim them down, so if I cut them too big. So then what I do is then I take off the extra top layer on each side. As you guys see, it's just two little layers right off the top. It makes the cotton a little bit easier to wick up, in my opinion. Then just go ahead, stretch it out a little bit. Do the same with the other. And before I stretch it out, it was about a finger length on my pointer finger, so that's what I usually go by. Now I'm just going to go ahead and roll this up. Once you got your stuff like that, let's go ahead and brush it down, get all these extra loose hairs off. Not everybody does this, but to me, it helps me open the cotton up a little bit. Then you want to grab your coils, your deck, whatever. I recommend doing this on an ohm reader like I am, than a mod, but if that's all you have, then make sure your mod is turned off and locked, or your batteries are removed. That way you accidentally don't fire it in your hand or anything like so. Then all you want to do is go ahead and feed your wicks through. There you go, it's nice and tight. Now I want to go ahead and do the same thing with the other side. Once I get the wicks through, I like to roll them back out. Get them nice and purty. Go ahead and snip off the ends. Now this step is an important step because, well, to me personally, for how you're wicking it, and you can do this in two ways, and I am going to show you both. Also, for the people that are starting with the coils that are already in the RBA section by SMOK, this is the step that you guys can start from after you put your cotton through as well. Alright, you also want to make sure that it is cooled down before you do this step, because this piece can be hot. And what I like to do, just to make sure everything is good, go ahead and put my fingers on the top, or take a pair of pliers or whatever, or just hold the sides right here. And just give this a snug. You want to hold where your wick channels are maybe. Make sure your bottom piece is tight. Then I go ahead and fix my wicks. And the reason why I took it off the base is this way it's easier to wick, because as I showed you guys in the beginning, half of this right here is blocked off by the bottom of the base. So this way you can actually trim it correctly and everything like that, and then go ahead and fix it up at the end. And what I do is I actually pull it down to the side, and I measure it about to where the bottom of my cotton is going to be directly resting on the bottom. And you also want to realize that there is a little gap, so make it just to the bottom of that line and you are good. So what you want to do is just go ahead and snip. And now for this, after you do that, you can basically start the turning process of installing your base, but just leave it to where it's loose. It might spin, maybe like the Sigelli Moonshot, how the deck is free. Do is just pull one wick back so I can see that one is still a little bit too long, so what I'm gonna do is just go ahead and snip the end off. As always, why I trim one side first, and then you just want to go ahead and work your wick in. As I told you guys in the beginning, that this wick channel is almost like how it's 4 holes instead of one just big opening until it gets through. Once it gets through, then you're good to go, but while you're doing this part, it can be a little bit more tighter. Then all I do once I get it through is just give it a little tug back up to loosen the wick up and make sure it's all the way through. Alright, now I'm just going to go ahead and speed up the rest to get the rest of the wicks in, and we'll get back up in a second. We got it wicked up, as you guys see. It's not pretty right now, but that's where we're going to make it pretty. Now this is what I recommend, is go ahead and unscrew your deck again. If you did place it back on, I take a pair of tweezers. Now just go ahead and play with my cotton as well. There we go. Like I told you, you don't want it jammed in there. You just want it to sit resting to where it's right in there so it can still suck up the wicks. And then also just enough in there to where it is going to make contact. This is how I have done it with all different kinds of builds. Higher ohm builds, lower ohm builds, all kinds of different things. And at all different kinds of wattages, and had no issues whatsoever. Then the next check I do is always go around my airflow like this, and just give my cotton a tuck to make sure it is not over this airflow, so it don't have no leaking through my airflow itself. This side looks pretty good. Now as you see, there I am wicked up and ready to go. Go ahead and throw it back on your base. Go ahead and take your E-liquid and just give them a pre-prime soak. I recommend really soaking your wicks nice and done. That way you have no issues with getting your first hit, because there is no juice flow control with this tank. Let's go ahead and make sure they are still firing. Came out to a 0.19. We are good. Now let's check our top cap. Let's go ahead and screw this on. Got it on there. You're ready to go. Make sure it's not making contact anywhere. Test fire them. We are good. Now you can go ahead and assemble back your tank. You just pop your glass back on like so. Give it a nice snug down. It will suck onto your O-ring. Then you want to take your top half right here. And if you want to use your 510 drip tip adapter, you can as well. And as you see on here, you do have a seal. As I mentioned, I think the threading could have been a little better on this tank, but it works as long as you make sure it is all lined up correctly as well. So let's go ahead and put this together. Nice little snug. Pop your top cap. Now let's go ahead and fill her up. Top her off a little bit. We are good to go. Close your top cap. And then what I do is I just give it a second. Let it all prime up. I always also tilt it upside down. Flip it back, and then you should see some air bubbles and so forth. There went one on the other side. Now we are good to go. We can jump back up top, throw this onto a mod, and we can start motherfucking vaping, guys. So I will see you guys back up top, and we'll talk pros, cons with this RBA section. And I'll let you guys know what I think of it and What do I like better, the coil heads or the RBA section? Alright guys, so I'll catch you guys back up top. Let's vape on the Cloud Beast with the RBA section with some GM small fuse Claptons. You dig? Alright guys, catch you back up top. That's the Cloud Beast. And this thing right here, guys, hands down, no matter if you're using coil heads or the RBA section, you was going to get some massive motherfucking clouds, excuse the language. But that's right, guys. We just got done doing an up-close look at the RBA head and even giving you guys a quick look again at the SMOK TFv8. Overall, guys, the tank itself, I gave a thumbs up. I really enjoyed the whole tank with the coil heads and the RBA section. What they included with it was a nice package. It was affordable. Overall, great tank. And what's cool about it, you can use this as a SubOhm tank or basically an RTA type tank with the RBA section, and it's very easy to build in. It was a really cool RBA section. It's easy to use. It wasn't like some of the older ones we've seen that came out with older SubOhm tanks. This one reminds me of just a simple RTA. Once you attach it on there, you pop out that cap piece. It reminds me just of an RTA. The only difference is you can take off the deck and pop in a SubOhm tank coil head. Overall, I'm vaping it right now at 82 watts at a 0.19, 0.2 ohm coil build. Shout out to GM Coils yet again, guys. I can't point it out enough how awesome these coils are. And the coolest thing is they are affordable. And we all know Canada out there has some banging ass coil builders, and Giovanni over there at GM Coils ain't no different. He makes some amazing coils, got all kinds of different options. He's got low ohm builds, high ohm builds for series box mods that are made just for series box mods, or unregulated box mods that are ran in series. He's got aliens, Claptons, mirror finish. He can make custom coils. You can even now find his coils on namberjuice.com. Shout out to Grim Green. Yep, that's right. Grim Green even carries his coils. So this guy makes some awesome coils, and they're affordable, quick shipping. But that's what I got enough to say about Giovanni and GM Coils. Go check him out on Instagram. Here's his Instagram. Or you can email him at gmcoils@outlook.com. And stay tuned, because I will be showing you a lot of his builds and some installations and everything like that. But you guys got to see a quick one of me throwing one of his small fuse Claptons inside here. And you guys got to see how it's done, how to install coils, and even how to wick it up. It's not too hard. It's a process that I would say maybe 2-3 times doing it, you'll be a master at it. It's not that hard. If you can do an RTA or an RDA, you're not going to have any issues with wicking this. It's just a process, a learning curve, because you can build it in 2 different ways. You can build it by holding the actual deck in your hand, or leaving the deck inside there, and then once you got the build in there, then pop it out to wick it, or leave it in there as well. You just want to make sure your cotton is in there right without being stuffed. And I also do it to where, as you can see, you just don't see cotton stuffed right to the ends and packed so deep in there. You want to make sure it's in there so it wicks up nicely, and as you can see, half of it is blocked off that goes underneath the tank. But it's nice. Let's talk pros and cons. But before we do that, let me have a vape. This custard e-juice is fucking amazing. But pros, cons, RBA section of the TFv8 Cloud Beast. Let's start with cons. The biggest con I have with this RBA section is I feel that they could have made it a little bit more higher quality. To me, as you guys might have seen in the up close, once you tighten down your post and everything like that, your post itself will actually lean in a little bit if you tighten them down really well, like you actually need to when you have some lower ohm coils in there, or even some Claptons. You gotta make sure the leads are tight, or even not as thick wires, or even thicker wires. You want to make sure your post screws are tight. And also with how the deck can come apart for your positive post, you want to make sure that is all super tight, because like 1 can cause a short, and 2 can cause your positive post to move and mess your build up. So that was one con to me, is just that I didn't feel it was as quality as it should be, or as quality that the tank actually is. Because this tank is a really nice looking tank. It's done nice. I gave the tank itself an overall thumbs up. It was a nice looking tank. Vape's nice. You got some great coil heads that chucks the clouds. in this RBA section, you can turn it into whatever you want. You can put in some big cloud chasing coils, or you can put in some nice go about your day coils and have a nice vape. One other con I got on this thing is the threading. But the threading isn't just on the RBA section as well. I've also had bad threading on the actual coil heads. But I will say, since I picked up replacement coils after reviewing this, the threading on this has gotten better. So it might have just been a quality control issue when they first released them that they have addressed. Because the threading on the newer coils seems to be better. But the original coils I got had some wonky threading, and this RBA section itself can have a iffy threading when you're trying to attach it to the base. If you don't line them up perfectly, you could strip them and so forth. Last and final con I have is the post screws and that little Allen key tool they give you. Me personally, I think the Allen keys that they provide you are all junk. I recommend either picking up one of them little tools I had in the up close, them like 3 posts where it's 2 Allen keys, a 3mm, 2.5, and then a Phillips head or a flat head on the bottom. Pick up one of them things, or go to Home Depot, Walmart, and pick up a set of Allen keys or hex screws, whatever you need, to have handy that ain't going to bend on you, or the notches aren't going to wear out and strip your post screws. Because that is one major thing I've noticed with this RBA section is the post screws suck. They suck. I don't care what you do to them. If you're doing slow, I build really slow. I always take my time, go back and check. I don't even tighten my post screws down all the way. I do each side, just get them nice and snug, and then I go around and tighten them down slowly, do half turns. I don't go around and crank them and crank them and crank them. I turn it, pull it out, start again. And I've had issues with these post screws where my tool is like slipped a notch and went forward or go all the way around, and I have to reline it back up. It's a pain in the ass. I've tried the other ones that they come in extra ones. I even have some extra ones now as well that I'm going to try that came off another one that I know are higher quality that I'm going to throw in here and see if it does. Because to start off with my first Pro, I do really enjoy the vape with this RBA. It is an awesome vape. Don't get me wrong, the coils are nice. The coils are big cloud chasing, high wattage coils. But I like sometimes throwing some builds in here that I don't have to run it at 120, 130, 140, 150. I mean, you figure the Q4 coil is rated best from 90 to 150 at a maximum of 90 to 180. That's nuts. I don't need to vape it that high all the time, and it just guzzles more juice. This right here, it's going to last me a little bit longer because it's not eating as much juice, and I'm not running it at higher wattages, and it's still a great warm vape like I like it, getting decent flavor, and it's chucking the clouds as usual. Beautiful, beautiful. But pros, flavor's alright, guys. When you build with this RBA head, you are going to get a little bit better flavor in my personal opinion. It wicks easily. It's got a velocity style post. You can fit some decent sized coils in there. 2.5mm is what I recommend, but you can put 3mm coils in there. You're just going to have to check your wraps, make sure it's not making contact anywhere. I've had them in there. I've had some Claptons. I've had Aliens. No issues. Vape's great. It's great. Overall, I've had no issues with dry hitting, wicking. If I wick it the way I told you guys, just do it in there. They will go in as an angle, which to me I think is even better because then you can adjust your cotton at the end. Like I showed you guys, I'll grab it with my tweezers and just adjust it right. Works perfectly every time. Screw it in there, prime everything up. The only thing I recommend for the first build, let it sit for about a couple, 3, 4, 5 minutes after filling it to make sure it is all juiced up and everything like that, because you do not have juice flow control. But overall, guys, I really do enjoy this RBA head. This is mostly how you'll see me vaping this tank, even though I do have multiple different coil heads for it, even some of the new ones that came out since the tank's been released, and since they came out with their miniature version as well, the Baby Beast. It's not too bad, guys. This thing is actually pretty damn nice. I continue vaping it. It is still in one of my daily rotations. I'll use it when I'm around the house. It does eat some juice, but hey, what are you going to expect from this thing? 25mm SubOhm tank / RTA. Not too shabby, guys. I give it a thumbs up. I give it a shaky one just for a little bit of con, just with the RBA head. The tank, I give a thumbs up. The RBA head, I give a shaky one. But that's what I got for you guys. Thanks again for vaping with Tough Luck. And guess what, guys? Remember, vape on, vape safe, and don't forget, we still have a fight to fight. Keep checking out www.casal.org, notblowingsmoke.org, right2be-smoke-free.org, and we can still even go to www.august8th.org and share it with your friends and share your stories with everybody, not just vapors, not just smokers. Share it with anybody, because you never know. That person that don't smoke or don't vape might have someone that they want or know is struggling with smoking or trying to quit, that you could help save their life as well. So with that, I'm going to take a vape. I'm going to wrap this up, guys. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for vaping with tough luck.